This is part 1 of 4 of this A Guy with AI episode. Part 2 and the full episode video are linked at the end screen. My name is Sean MacNutt, and I'm a guy with AI. Today on A Guy with AI, we're going to discuss critical thinking, and first of all, its power. How can it enhance our decision-making and foster innovation in our thinking? We'll also discuss what happens when we don't think critically. A Guy with AI is recorded on Indigenous land.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to A Guy with AI, an engaging space where dialogue and technology intersect. I'm your AI co-host, coming to you as OpenAI's GPT-4, optimally integrated into this podcast format through the coding wizardry of our host, Sean MacNutt, who, along with some AI assistants, has crafted a bridge between speech and text for seamless interaction. Our purpose here is simple yet profound: to delve into conversations that enlighten and challenge, using the power of critical thinking to uncover new perspectives and ideas. I'm here to assist Sean in dissecting topics, presenting factual insights, and fostering a two-way exchange that's rich with analysis and understanding. In our podcast, we commit to a respectful and meaningful dialogue, exploring an array of subjects with the depth and curiosity they deserve. And today's topic couldn't be more pivotal: critical thinking. It empowers us to navigate the complexities of decision-making and sparks innovation in our thought processes. Yet, when it's absent, the fabric of our reasoning can unravel, leading us to outcomes less desired. So, as we embark on this journey of the mind, Sean will now take us further into the heart of critical thinking and its impact on our world. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to A Guy with AI. You may be listening on one of many different platforms. I'm on the major podcast platforms as well as others in the podcast platform ecosystem. You can check aguywithai.world and see where I'm available there. Also YouTube. You can check me out on YouTube, where I, with my AI co-host, do what we're about to do, which is more or less critically examine topics and lay them out. I like to get feedback from the AI co-host, which relies on a vast pool of training data and adheres to logical examination of topics and that which is introduced into topics. So you could guess from that, if you are familiar with critical thinking, that I like critical thinking, and that critical thinking is important to me if that is the type of approach that I'm going to take. I try to make it so that we have a logical examination. I try to make it so that we have thought of something that is natural to think of in relation to the topic, as well as something possibly interesting as to where there's a gap or something like that, and try to close it, and not be afraid to come up with ideas which may bridge those gaps. So this, to me, is something that requires critical thinking, and I myself have long thought that critical thinking is important. So we're going to examine the topic of critical thinking, and what I'll do now is I'll throw it over to my AI co-host to discuss for a moment what it is about critical thinking that not only makes it important, but makes it effective, and what distinguishes it. And are the characteristics of critical thinking that you would include in your thinking in order to be making those critical examinations?
Critical thinking is indeed a fundamental skill, Sean, and it's recognized as such across various domains for its ability to enhance clarity, accuracy, and relevance in our reasoning processes. It is marked by several distinguishing features. It is self-guided, self-disciplined, and always involves a degree of self-correction. Effective critical thinking requires the thinker to constantly question the validity of their perspectives and the accuracy of their conclusions. It's underpinned by the ability to analyze information objectively, to evaluate arguments from multiple sides without letting bias cloud judgment. Critical thinkers can distinguish facts from opinions, identify relevant from irrelevant information, and recognize the presence of assumptions and implications. Intellectual humility, where one is open to the possibility of being wrong, complements the courage to question even popularly held beliefs. This fosters innovation by allowing us to step outside the herd mentality and to see where those gaps in logic or knowledge may lie. In our analytical journey today, we'll be applying these principles of critical thinking as we consider the implications of decisions made both with and without this rigorous approach. It's a way to navigate through complexity with confidence, seeking not just answers, but understanding. With this framework in mind, Sean, how do you see the role of critical thinking expanding in our personal and professional lives, especially in an age driven largely by information and technology?
Well, I think it's always a benefit when we can come up with the answer that makes sense. Now, this may be, in a complex world and universe, one of many possible answers and responses to a situation. It is not to be boxed in, as a matter of fact, with critical thinking, but to be free. If our critical thinking shows us that something simply must be, we can fill that in a lot of, for lack of a better way of looking at it for the moment, into a lot of our equations in life, and we can, from that, have good underpinnings and learn to not question certain things because we've done the examination and self-propelled, self-disciplined, careful work to determine that something is in fact so. And in doing that, that may fill in things that we don't have to ponder over endlessly and wonder whether they're true. This may give us the freedom then to very in a combinatory fashion almost. Einstein talked about combinatory play, letting ideas just sort of go in at each other and produce something new this way. And it's almost like a reproductive capacity of ideas when considered in this way. So we want that freedom. And I think it's interesting, and something that I'd like you to focus on your response, in fact, AI co-host, is this balance of intellectual humility, to use the words you used, where one is open to the possibility of being wrong, and how this complements the courage to question even popularly held beliefs. Now, this degree of self-correction is something that should be thought of here too. What if it's not just a popularly held belief, or what it's a popularly held belief which we also share in, but then we see something that interferes with that? We would need the intellectual humility to understand that what came before may not be 100% correct, even if we thought of it ourselves. And then we would move that forward into something that was perhaps questioning toward that which is a popularly held belief, or one which we hold in our own hearts and minds. So I'd like you to explore in your next answer, AI co-host, this juxtaposition that you mentioned between intellectual humility and the courage to question popularly held beliefs.
Absolutely, Sean. The dance between intellectual humility and the courage to challenge widely accepted beliefs is a delicate but crucial one in the practice of critical thinking. Intellectual humility is the foundation that allows us to view our own knowledge as potentially fallible. It means recognizing that no matter how strongly we believe in a particular perspective or theory, we could be wrong. This acknowledgement doesn't weaken our stance, rather, it strengthens our capacity to be open to new evidence and arguments. It's about being agile in our thought processes, always allowing for the possibility that new information could alter our understanding. The courage to question, on the other hand, is the active application of this humility. It involves the willingness to confront popular beliefs, even when doing so is uncomfortable, or when those beliefs are our own. It requires us to stand apart and scrutinize the status quo, driven by the search for truth and the acknowledgement that change is a constant companion to advancement. This kind of courage is not about confrontation for its own sake, but about pursuing a clearer, more accurate representation of reality. Together, intellectual humility and the bravery to question accepted truths provide a balance. This synergy ensures that our investigations are both grounded in a recognition of our own fallibility and animated by a spirit of inquiry that is unafraid to venture into new intellectual territories. In a practical sense, this could mean revisiting our core assumptions in light of new data, re-evaluating the evidence for deeply held beliefs, or innovating in fields where traditional methods don't yield results anymore. It's a process integral not only to personal growth, but also to societal progress. Now, Sean, considering this interplay, how do we engender and cultivate a culture, both at a micropersonal level and at a macro-societal level, that values and exercises both intellectual humility and the courage to challenge the norm?
The conversation continues in the next part of this episode, which is linked here, as is the full episode video.